Hello guys, welcome back. In this video we are going to learn about the East India Company. Under the East India Company we'll first deal about the origin of the company and then English traders and the settlers in India and then about Robert Clive and the Battle of Plassey, and we'll see the various adaptation done by the settlers to acquire territories in India. Let's get started. Firstly, we must know that the East India Company lasted for 258 years and it started in the year 1600 to 1858. Between these prolonged years, it built up a vast empire in India. The first Englishman to come to India is believed to have been Father Thomas Stevens, who then became the head of the Jesuit College in the year 1579. Jesuit College is in Goa. While Thomas is in India, he used to write letter to his father who is in England, saying that he has a desire to have trade with India. And as a result of this, there were two merchants who comes to India in the year 1585. They are Ralph Fitch and William Leeds. They arrive at Fatehpur Sikri, which is a town in Uttar Pradesh. It was then the capital of Akbar, the Mughal emperor. Though the merchants arrived India from England, but England's commercial enterprise started in the year 1600 when Queen Elizabeth granted a royal charter to the East India Company. Even then, it took 8 years for the English traders to establish their first trading center at Surat. The East India Company had a very humble beginning at first. It had only 125 shareholders with a capital of $70,000. Only a small group of ships were sent for trade, and members of the company contributed whatever they could. And whenever the ships returned, the profits were divided among the shareholders. Initially, the company was able to make enormous profit, but later on, as it had many competitions, like many people started to come to India, like Europeans and English people. So the East India Company had its own ups and downs. Some years it was able to create 50% profit and some years it could make no profit at all. However, the East India Company managed to give 60% profit to the shareholders per annum. Somehow, the East India Company existed for a longer period other than the other European companies. So, having made steady progress in trade, its next effort was to establish important trade centers in India. In 1640, the Britishers obtained some land for rent from the Raja of Chandragiri. The land is from the north of Santhom. Santhom is already the Portuguese settlement. Simultaneously, Francis Day erected a number of buildings and a fort which was named Fort St. George. Francis Day is an administrator who is associated with the East India Company. And this is how the beginning of Presidency of Madras started. The name Madras is derived from Portuguese, Madre de Deus, which meant Mother of God in the Portugal language. Bombay was already belonged to Portuguese, and in the year 1661, this Bombay was given to Charles II of England as a part of the dowry when he married Catherine of Berganza. This I have already mentioned in the previous video. At that time, Charles II did not give much value to the place, and so he gave the place to the East India Company for an annual rent of just £10. Gerald Ongier, he was then time the governor of Bombay Presidency. He converted Bombay into a beautiful and well fortified town with a natural harbour. As soon as the conversion, the trading factories at Surat were soon shifted to Bombay. Towards the end of 17th century, in the year 1690, the famous British agent named George Carnatic, he built Calcutta, which was later known as Calcutta even now. He built a fort which he named as Fort William to honor King William III. Several other factories were opened in Bengal and placed under a president and council with their headquarters in Fort William, and this is how the Presidency of Bengal started. When the Britishers experienced prosperity in trade in India, they grew more in ambition. During this time, the Mughal emperor's rule was broken into pieces and there was no single power to dominate the political scene. Using this as an opportunity, the Britishers tried to interfere in the internal affairs of the Indian princes. We also must know that French and English people had rival between them in India. So the early part of 18th century was a period of struggle for power between the French and the English. At that time, the great French leader in India was Dupleix and his English counterpart was Robert Clive. These two always had disputes, and this arose about the succession to the offices of Nizam of Hyderabad and Nawab of Karnataka. Let me give you a small gist about Carnatic wars in India. Carnatic wars in India was fought between French and British in the Deccan region. First Carnatic War was between 1746 to 48. Second Carnatic War was between 1749 to 1754. Third Carnatic War was between 1757 to 1763. The three Carnatic Wars had the ultimate effect of establishing the British supremacy in South India. After defeating the French in the south, Robert Clive interfered in the affairs of Bengal. He defeated the Nawab of Bengal in the Battle of Plassey in the year 1757. Robert Clive is the only reason for establishing British power in India. He was made the first governor of Bengal and sometime later he became the Lord Clive of Plassey. However, in 1767 he returned back to England and he was badly attacked in the House of Commons. It was because of the corruption and aggression. After this, he committed suicide in the year 1774 in the early age of 50 years old. You must be knowing about House of Commons. House of Commons is the democratically elected house of the English Parliament, which is responsible for making laws and checking the work of government. During the Stuart period, the East India Company had acquired large territories in India. Report after report reached England of serious scandals and irregularities, and the England government thought it's necessary to control the activities of the company. A committee report was being sent to the British Parliament, and the British Parliament, looking at that, it passed the Regulating Act in the year 1773. According to this act, the Governor of Bengal was made the Governor General with supervisory powers over the presidencies of Bombay and Madras. The Governor General was also to be assisted by a council of 4 members, a Supreme Court consisting of a Chief Justice and 3 other judges was appointed to deal with all kinds of crime happening in East India Company. Basically, the purpose of this act was to provide proper administrative machinery for the company's territory, but it failed to achieve its purpose, and so the England government was obliged to do something more effective. The result was the passing of Pitt's India Act in the year 1784. According to this new act, all Indian affairs had to be managed by a committee of 3 senior directors. The 3 senior directors will be supervised by a board of control appointed by the Crown. But in actual practice, the president of board of control exercised all the power. In the next few decades, the company authorities adopted a variety of ways to acquire territory in India. They had a hectic time waging wars, transacting treaties, making subsidiary alliances with native rulers. And in addition to all this, they also had to fight with the frontier countries like Afghanistan, Burma, and Nepal. In attempt to establish British supremacy in India, the authorities were also forced to wage war with some of the most powerful Indian adventurers like Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. The English had to fight for three Maratha wars, and after that, they got the formidable Maratha Confederacy. After this, the East India Company signed the treaty with the powerful Sikh leader Ranjit Singh, who is popularly known as Lion of Punjab. Shortly after the death of Ranjit Singh, the Britishers made subsidiary alliances with native rulers like the Raja of Mysore, the Nizam of Hyderabad, the Nawab of Oudh, and many others. Lord Wesley was able to establish British power over a good part of India. Subsidiary alliance means an arrangement between British East India Company and the Indian Royal States. It is like an agreement between Lord Wesley and the native rulers. According to the subsidiary system, an Indian ruler had to pay a certain amount of money to the British government, and in return he was assured of external defense and internal security. Here we have to remember some of the eminent Englishmen who presided the British activities in India, starting from Robert Clive. The most other famous people are Warren Hastings, Lord Cornwallis, Arthur Wesley, Lord Hastings, William Bentik, and Lord Dalhousie. Some of these men were guilty for their exploitation and crimes that they conducted in India. When William Bentik became the governor of India in the year 1828, he loved Indians more, and he said that English greatness is founded on Indian happiness. William Bentik is a good friend of India and a benefactor of India. He introduced a number of social reforms. One of the earliest and most solitary of those reforms was the prohibition of sati movement. In 1828, it was declared that the practice of sati, the burning alive of Hindu widows, was illegal and punishable. The implementation of social reform by William Bentik was also supported by some of Indians like Raja Ram Mohan Roy. William Bentik was also responsible for the framing of Indian Penal Code. William Bentik appointed a law commission with Thomas Babington Macaulay. Thomas Babington Macaulay is an eminent jurist and historian and its president. The penal code drafted by William in the year 1837 was adapted in 1860, but the most monumentous reform introduced by Bentik was the one by which English was made the medium of higher education in India. Some people in India, that is the higher caste people in India, wanted to study in Sanskrit and in Arabic, but the others were in favor of Western education through the medium of English. In the year 1835, William Bentik announced that the great object of the British government ought to be the promotion of European literature and science among the natives of India. This decision encouraged the missionaries like Dr. Duff in Calcutta, Dr. Wilson in Bombay, and Dr. Miller, who became the first principal of Madras Christian College. These three men actively took part in university education of these three metropolitan cities like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. The universities in Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras were just modeled like the University of London, which was established in the same year, 1857. Lord Dalhousie is the another Governor General who introduced some useful social reforms to India. In 1853, he introduced the first railway between 20 miles long from Bombay to Thane. Another railway line was constructed from Calcutta to Rani Gang coalfields. The railway line between Madras and Arakonam was constructed later. Dalhousie organized the Public Works Department and opened an engineering college in Roorkee. Roorkee is an urban town in the district of Haridwar in Uttaranchal. He built network of roads with bridges covering a distance of 2000 miles and constructed the Public Works Department. The Grand Ganges Canal and the largest canal in the world was also made in Dalhousie's time. India owes much to him for the introduction of post and electric telegrams, which improved the means of communication in the country. Hope this video helped you to learn about the origin of East India Company, English trade settlements in India, Robert Clive and the Battle of Bassley, and various adaptations by the settlers that they did to acquire territories in India. In the second part of the video, you will learn about the impact of the company on English society. Keep subscribed for latest updates. Thank you.